Welcome to your 5-minute podcast with Evelyn. Thank you for joining the 5-minute podcast today. And I have a very special guest, Jim Kerr, my fiance and my business partner. Now, Jim, I'm going to let you be the man of knowledge here. I have a bit of a letter that someone has written to me, or texted me, sorry. And I'm going to ask you, as the male, and you don't know what it is yet. So this particular lady was in a relationship for about a few months and thought everything was going okay. But the gentleman then came to her and said that it wasn't working out. And everything was amicable and left like that. Now, what happened is the old mind starts ticking over, tick, 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 tick. What did I do? What did I say? I'd like to know. And she's in a quandrum. Do I text him to find out why this ended? Because there's answers or questions I want answered, or should I not bother? So from a man, it's lovely to get, I can say from a woman's point of view, or maybe from the man's point of view, but it's nice to hear from the man himself. And by the way, anything that we discuss here is just a conversation between myself and Jim. Do not take it as advice or literal. It's just an open conversation on what you would feel would be right from the man's point of view.
Well, I think communication and direct communication is most of the time good and beneficial. And I suppose you want to learn from your relationships as well. Maybe you don't want to keep repeating the same thing all the time if you want to meet somebody else. And I think the difference between men and women is, in the main, maybe it's a generalisation, is that men are pretty simplistic thinkers and we don't overthink things too much. If you ask a man a question, he'll usually give you a straight answer. My experience a lot of the time in the past with women was, and it's not in a romantic way, just women, that they can overthink things. They ask you a question, you give a straight answer, and then they'll say, why did you say that? What do you mean by that? Is there something different you meant? It's just dead simple as far as a man's concerned, uncomplicated.
So what would you think then if someone sat down, as you said, the lady has a tendency to overthink, and in my experience, it's more, yes, women than men are the overthinkers. Do you have to be prepared for the answer? This is it.
Absolutely. I think the important thing is, as the lady is, if you're going to ask that question, probably the guy is going to give you a direct answer. Are you able to take it on the chin without overthinking it? Just take it exactly as they mean it without thinking anything else. If you can do that, I suppose if you can think like a man, in other words, then you're pretty well sorted, I would say. And then not take it to heart and think, right, okay, can I change that for next time?
Yeah, it's not, I know we say, I'd like to learn, I'd like to know, but sure, the mind runs riot and it overthinks and it gets angry. Mm-hmm. And it gets judgmental and it gets all those things. So my advice would be not to bother sending a text. Take it for what it is. It didn't work out, and just, it doesn't mean that. I always think if something doesn't work out, that's not meant for you, but take what the good part of it was.
Yeah.
And take it on to the next bit.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not meant to work out, it ain't meant to work out. If something's for you, it'll not go past you. Great.
And it's not necessarily your fault that the relationship is broken up. It's, it takes two. Mm-hmm. There's always the other partner could have issues as well.
And that's it. And perhaps sometimes too, what has happened for people in the past, it's coming out of a relationship, of course you're gutted and devastated and down, and then want to quickly get into another relationship. It kind of smothers that pain of that. But Jim, you've been on your own for quite some time too, before myself and yourself. The importance of male or female, but you can speak from the male point of view, of spending time by yourself and getting to know yourself and doing things for yourself. How important is that?
It goes back to the same thing of being happy in yourself first without a partner and not having the need to have somebody. Just being able to enjoy life and to be able to do your work, to have lots of outside activities, hobbies, whatever, that keep you as a rounded person, so that if you do meet somebody else, that you don't have this big need for someone else.
A big void, a big need.
Yes.
Jim, there's my 5 minutes up already. Ladies and gentlemen, Thank you so much for joining the 5 Minute Podcast. And if you have any questions for this Jim man, send them to me.